What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Inside Lines podcast. I'm your host, Atoya Burleson.
And I am Tia Avril.
Coming up a bit later in the show, we'll be chatting with Emmy award-winning media maven and co-founder of Diversified Now, Raleshia Brumfield. But before we get into that, Tia, what's good?
Girl, I feel like it's been a minute since we chatted.
It has, but it hasn't. That's the reality of our lives.
Look, I'm like, oh, it's a lot that took place. I think the last time we chatted, we were getting ready for the Superbowl Reunion weekend.
Yes.
When I say I had such a good time.
Aww.
Seeing everybody, like they did dinners, like cocktail hour situation, Friday and Saturday, did practice and community stuff on Saturday, and then the game on Sunday. And you forget, like, 10 years is actually a really long time, right? And so, like, some people, they left the team right after their Super Bowl year, so we haven't really seen, maybe seen some social media stuff. So it was good to really catch up with the wives.
Yeah.
But it was also interesting because, like I said, some of the guys were cut right after, maybe after the second Super Bowl appearance. And so it was very interesting watching the guys kind of like settle into, oh yeah, we really did this. And also it's over, you know, because almost everybody but Bobby and Russell have retired.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like this full circle little situation of healing and reconnecting and all the things that was really good to see.
That's awesome. It's a special time. Like, a lot of people don't get that experience. So I'm glad that you guys got to kind of relive it a little bit, which is dope.
Yes. It was good. What about you? What's been going on?
Well, I officially have a driver now, Nehemiah.
Come on, Nene.
He got his keys to his car. He got his license. I am so happy. I am free. Almost. But in the sense of, like, you know, I was, you know, getting everybody to school and, you know, this and that, and picking them up and making sure. So now that he can drive, I've already put him to work. Not only is he driving, y'all, but I've had him go to the grocery store. I've had him run some errands for me, and like, he loves it. He feels like real responsible. So it's cute. It's a good moment around here.
Awesome. What Mia have him running around doing?
You know, Mia wanted to go to her favorite place down the street. It's just Walgreens, because she likes to go. She loves to go frolic around in the makeup sections and find little stuff and little lip stuff, and, you know, stuff the little 13-year-old girls do. They just like their little beauty products, and I'm tried this and I'm going to put this on, and I saw this on TikTok. So, you know, he has to have patience. It ain't just taking her there. He got to deal with all that. But, you know, it's a good learning lesson for him.
Like, he's still in that phase where, you know, when you first start driving, you don't mind your parents sending you to the store 72 times.
Yes.
But then you get grown, you like, I don't want to go to another damn store. I don't want to be behind the wheel of anything. But that's like, so I saw his car.
Yes, we surprised him after football practice with this car. It was a cool moment. Like, I went to pick him up, and we were getting ready to go, and I said, do you want to drive? And he's like, yeah, sure. So he gets out of the car on the passenger side, comes around to the driver's side, and he gets in, and I'm like, no, not this car. And I pointed, and he looked over, and he was like so shocked and so happy, so surprised. And he's so cute. He's such my big baby-o-so, my little bear. He just hugged us. He was just so happy. And when I tell you, he's so responsive. He's like, Mom, I'm at 99 miles. When do I need to refill my tank? I'm like, son, you're going down the street to school. You all right, okay? You ain't taking long road trips. Relax.
He has developed a healthy habit, because I'd be like, okay, 15 miles to E, and then maybe I'll stop.
He's like asking all the questions. He wants to know how it works. He wants to know what he needs to do. So it's super cute, you know, because compared to my first one, he was just like, throw me the keys, I'm out. He didn't ask no questions. He was just in them streets.
Okay, so does he know, like, what type of gas and stuff to put in the car? Like, he knows all that kind of stuff?
He knows what type of gas to put in. He knows, like, we went through all of that. But the funniest part about it is, like, he asked even more questions. Like, we went through the whole spiel with Nate, and he was like, all right, I'm out. And that was it. Like, he didn't ask any other questions. He was in the streets. And Nehemiah's like, hey, Mom, I'm going to Walgreens to get some Epsom salt to soak in my bathtub for my football game. Like, that's as far as he's went. I'm like, bruh.
Can I do that?
I'm like, get out a little bit. Go a little further than Walgreens. Like, let's go down to go to the mall. Like, do something.
Yeah, go pick your friends up. Yeah, I love it.
So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take my friend. I'm gonna take him. We're gonna go get some bagels. I'm like, all right, live your best life, son. So it's cute.
Right. As long as he's happy.
They all so different. I'm here for it. It's pretty. And he's just smiling. He just sits in his car when he pulls into the driveway. Just sits in his car. I'm like, what you doing? Nothing. Just smiling. Nothing. So, all right. Enough about that. Y'all will understand if y'all not there yet. It's a pretty cool experience for sure. Tia, you going to be there before you know it.
Look, I feel like Zay going to be more like Lil Nate. Where I'm going to have to be like, boy, if you don't get back here, put some gas in this car. No.
Yes. But it's so cool. Like, you realize, you just remember being young again and how excited you were to like have a little bit of freedom and responsibility, but still go kick it with your friends and hang out. Like, it's a dope feeling. So I'm excited for him and I'm excited to be free. But enough about that, y'all. We're going to get into our interview with the amazing Raleshia Brumfield. On the show today, we have an amazing woman. She is the co-founder of Diversified Now, the founder of the Kingdom Divas movement, and she is a Emmy-nominated and award-winning media maven who's worked with a plethora of networks, including CBS, NBC, and iHeart, just to name a few. Please welcome Raleshia Brumfield to the show. What's up, girl?
Hello. So honored to be here.
I know. I'm so excited to see your face and talk to you in real time.
Yes.
We're so excited.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you, ladies. So excited.
Yes. And if you guys are listening, you got to watch because her background is everything. Okay.
Let's start there. Should we talk about the background?
Let's do it. I think that's a great place to start. By day, thank you so much for that warm introduction. Because by day, that's exactly who I am. I am a media maven. I have the privilege of working and serving in local media. Shout out to my CBS Chicago family. And by night, I continue to evolve, whether it's in my own company, Diversified Now, my nonprofit, the Kingdom Divas movement, or what I like to call my first ministry, my family. So I am a mama bear of 3. I am a coffee lover, and I am a new and recent widow. So I believe God is definitely using me. I am evolving, I'm transforming, and I'm so excited to hopefully shine some light and share it with you all today.
Absolutely.
Girl, listen, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I want to talk about let's talk about where you were raised. Like, talk about where you come from. Where does all this spirit, because you're so positive and your voice is like sultry. I'll be listening like, oh, she sounds so amazing. So tell us where this all comes from.
Yes, I am a Chicago native. Chi-Town is my city. Now, I have to give a little caveat. A lot of people say they're from Chicago, but they live in the suburbs, okay? Yes, I am that suburban girl. However, the hybrid has made me who I am, and you can't tell me that this city isn't mine. I currently reside in Flossmoor, Illinois, which is a southern suburb of Chicago, but trust and believe, I'm only 30 minutes away. So I grew up in the city, but I also had that suburban balance. I grew up loving the arts. I grew up, I am actually from a Chicago public school in terms of my elementary and formative years. And then as I grew older, came out to the suburbs, in which, high school, I pursued and then went to Southern Illinois for college. So Chicago, Illinois, it is home based, but I have to really accredit my mother and my grandmother and my aunts, my village, specifically a community of women who always believed in keeping me exposed. So for me, my pathway to dreaming bigger outside of Chi-Town was the arts, whether it was visual arts, I was a dancer. I studied with Alvin Ailey in New York. So that was really my pathway to dream bigger. And so I went through a lot of things in my younger years as a dancer. One being diagnosed with a severe case of scoliosis. And I'm bringing that up only because it shifted my passions, it shifted my interests, but also my capabilities. And so if it were up to me, I would be going and being a part of the Renaissance tour with Beyonce after touring the world with Alvin Ailey. She's actually going to be in Chicago this weekend. It's in July, latter parts of July. That was originally my dream. But God had different plans. And so I always say, being able to reach people and use my gift to inspire, that mission, that calling is still the same. My stage is different. And so I'm able to do that in local media. And I'm able to do that in the city that I love so much.
Well, let's go back a little bit because I'm sure there was a huge transitional period for you, right? Like when you were diagnosed with scoliosis and when you found out you could no longer pursue that passion of dance, like how was that transition and how did you really navigate through that tough time?
It was extremely tough. But when I think about some of the moments in which you kind of had these major disruptions. That was probably one of my first biggest life's disruptions. It was an invitation to draw myself closer to purpose. So at the time and in the moment, I was devastated because I was a dancer. I mean, training 7 days a week. I mean, Christmas came and the next day we were in the studio. I'm not sure if you ever heard of Hip Lay, the African-American beautiful, the bad ballerinas. That was me before Hip Lay had an official brand. That was me. I trained with Homer Bryant. So that was my footprint. So of course, deviating from that, felt for me like the ultimate punishment. But it really also allowed me to explore different areas of my giftings and continue to put in that hard work. And if you trust God, He'll continue to open doors. So now looking back, I realized that disruption really catapulted me into new levels of purpose and impact in my career.
Yeah, you've had over 10 years now of media experience. How did you decide to take that path?
For me, again, I think being a part of arts, for me, I became quickly just enamored with production and building and telling a story, and using for dance your body as that vehicle for expression. But I realized I love to write, I love to speak. So now I can use my words as that same vehicle for expression. So it brought me back in a way to, my first love, which was arts and expression, but also being able to build a career in a different and unique way. So
what was that path like?
It was interesting, because at the end of the day, as a African-American woman in media, it is hard, right? Yeah. But also having a technical dance background is also very hard. From the way your body is shaped and the curves you have, and you can have the same skill set as a dancer as maybe someone else of a different background or descent, but you look different. Well, again, I think that was battleground and training ground for my career in media. And so it was definitely a rocky road, but I was that girl that was not afraid to put in the work. Right. One thing you cannot do is outwork me.
Did you study that for college? Like, is that?
I did. Okay. My major was radio television with a specialization in media marketing and management. And so I literally got laser focused in that area and just went all in. And so I remember in college, there was an opportunity to apply for a fellowship. And thousands of candidates applied. And I remember the night that the application was due, I'm like, okay, I'm going to just turn it in. And in my spirit, God was like, you're going to get this. And I'm like, really? Just literally turn the application in at 11:59. And that answering that call and being obedient, turning that application in, getting it done no matter what, that's really what catapulted my career right after college. I graduated May 9th, May 20th, I was moving to New York. And that opened kind of the pathway to work for other networks and things like that.
How was that moving from Chicago to New York?
Listen, because I have never met anybody more proud of where they from than Chicagoans and New York folks.
Right. Yes. New York is my happy place. I mean, I can go there, and it's so interesting because it's so fast paced. It's not necessarily anything I would say is zen, but it does something to me. It reminds me of that fire that I had coming into the industry, and it inspires me so incredibly much. But it was a lot. Coming from Chicago to New York, it was a lot. I played it super cool because if I didn't, I knew my parents would not be okay
coming to get
sending their baby girl to New York. So I had to play it cool, but I was nervous. And my late husband, we were high school sweethearts. So it was also an adjustment from leaving home, leaving the love of my life, who would eventually become my husband, and starting this career. You know, I had a lot of people say, and you want to do what? And you going where? But I have faith, and I took a leap of faith, and it opened a lot of doors.
Okay, so you go from Chicago to New York. How long are you in New York?
Almost 2 years.
So you're there for 2 years, and then what happens from there?
And the love of my life and I, we became pregnant, had a family. And I mean, New York, first of all, living in New York, I went there. I was able to start my career there via a fellowship program. And they kind of put you up. You know, they set you up. You live in the nice life. I think I was on NYU's campus, not too far from Tribeca. It was totally fake it till you make it. And I had a first job. Like, it was the thing. And then you get a job and they're like, oh, by the way, bye. It was already expensive out the gate, but then you start a new life. And so for me, I was devastated because I grew up this Black girl in the church. You knew about fornication. You tried, in my case, to live this perfect life, and then you become pregnant. You've been living and walking this path of perfection, and you become pregnant, and your career is jump starting, and you got to come home. And so it was a lot that came with that. And it took me years to really step and receive the gift and the blessing that would be the start of our family. But it was
shameful a little bit, right?
Oh yeah. It was definitely shameful, I would say.
Yeah. I struggle a little bit with that too, because when I had my first son, my husband and I were living apart. We weren't married or anything either. And I was like really embarrassed. I'm like, I'm about to go in here and excuse me, I'm about to go in here with these white people. They're going to be like, not only have we never seen your boyfriend, you're pregnant. Like, is he even really real? You know what I mean? And like all those things, right? So I can only imagine, because I didn't have, granted, I did go to church and all the things, but I didn't have that spiritual pressure too, right?
Yes.
So how did you even make the decision that, okay, I'm going to step away from what I literally just jump started here in New York and go home? Because I only ask that because, the men, they don't be worried about switching up nothing. It really be, falling on the women. Right.
I think in this case, I don't want to say I was trapped, but I think we knew we had a strong love. He was on a mission to get me back to Chicago. But deeper than that, I remember him sharing with me, and I get a little emotional thinking about it. It's not over, and we're going to do this. And I don't know how, but baby, I got you. And there's something about a man affirming you from a place of security, even when it's not necessarily all the way laid out.
Right.
I got you.
Right.
He don't have to believe you.
Yeah. At least you know you're not alone.
Different conviction. Yeah. You know you're not alone. And it was a different conviction that he was rooted in. His heart posture was different. But beyond that, I saw his maturity grow different. I saw his faith grow different. I saw his work grow different. And so when he said, I got you and we're going to do this, it definitely was an opportunity for me to exhale and also accept the journey that we were starting. I hadn't got to a place of forgiving myself yet, or really, really, really understanding that this is a part of my journey. But I knew that I was protected. I knew it was almost like a divine embrace covering us, saying, no, this is the next step. So again, back to those life disruptions calling you closer to purpose and who you really are, that was another one.
Yeah. You said something. You said, I hadn't forgiven myself.
Yep.
Do you feel like you let yourself down? You talked about the shame of going back home and everyone else judging you, but like, do you feel deep down inside it was your own unforgiveness and guilt that you put on yourself that hits you the hardest?
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. I think now when I use the language of forgiving myself, it's more so coming from the place of me even thinking in the first place that me having a child was the mistake. I had to forgive myself for even having that frame of reference. Because if you're not careful, you'll hold on to that. And then as you begin to move into life, as you begin to evolve, and I mean, that was almost 10 years that I had to go through this journey of realizing, the real forgiveness was me not realizing early that this was a gift.
Yeah.
This precious baby was a gift. And now as we get more into my story, this gift is holding me up too, right? So I think now I use that language more so. I had to learn to forgive myself for even thinking that a mistake was through the lens of life and of the blessing that my child is, because he is everything, the epitome of God's gift.
You better preach, Raleshia.
In the natural too.
Listen, I'm like, you are speaking.
That's a word.
Okay.
A lot of women need to understand what you just said right there. You know?
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true.
Yeah.
I think
it's like the thought of things not going as planned or how you planned it. It don't mean that it's this horrible thing. It just means it's a shift in the journey, and it can all be gifts, right? Girl, you keep preaching. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It really is. And so I think about, how in our Black communities, how in our Black church, we shame people. So that's where we begin to think, I got to forgive myself, because this has been kind of indoctrined in me. But, I think as you grow, and you have the opportunity to really feel love. For me, that was through and still is my late husband. You really begin to break down and unpack some of those thoughts. And for me, it's realizing this was a gift from God. And that gift is holding me up right now and helping me continue to go forth.
So you're not only speaking to us, you're speaking to all of our listeners, but you're also speaking to your Kingdom Divas movement, okay?
Yay.
Talk about what that is, because you have a gift of teaching and words. But talk about what Kingdom Divas movement is, and we'll go from there.
Wow. So the Kingdom Divas movement is really about celebrating, serving, and edifying women globally from all shapes and walks and backgrounds, celebrating the duality of the woman, but focusing on her soul first. I think, again, growing up with a very strong background in faith, it's easy to think that if you're a believer, you got to look this way and act this way, and or if you are a woman in faith, that means you can't be sexy, or if you are a woman in faith, you can't express yourself and be rooted in the aura of what a woman is to you. The Kingdom Divas movement is saying, you come, you come, you come, you come. We're celebrating that womanhood, whatever face you choose to put on, but also edifying you at the same time so that your soul is fed and you can find safety. So we've paused for a significant amount of time, especially now in this season, as I'm adjusting and acclimating to being a younger widow. But I'm so excited for next year and getting back. We had the opportunity to raise and collect donations for Primo Center, which is an African American center that houses homeless men and women and families. And what I didn't realize with a lot of shelters is if you have children, you can't come. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't understand that. And so being able to serve like a Primo Center in Chicago was huge because they accepted families, and it's Black owned as well. So that's a little bit about the Kingdom Divas movement. It's definitely under a bit of a relaunch right now, but I'm so excited for all there is to come.
Yeah, the website, when you read about it, it's you have some amazing words in there. They're very powerful. and you have. It's a gift for you. So I know when you get it back up and running, you got to let us know. We would definitely love to.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the encouragement.
Yeah. So I know you mentioned, you've said it a few times, that you are a recent widow. So my sincere condolences.
Thank you.
Is this something you are comfortable talking about and kind of sharing where you are along your journey?
Yes. I mean, I get emotional thinking about this story and being placed with you all because I remember last spring, my husband and I discovering the aneurysms. This was in early part of April. He had 2 brain aneurysms, completely out of left field. We are in our mid-30s, would never expect 2 brain aneurysms.
Right.
And I remember him being in the hospital, in the ER. And I remember I found this podcast. And so I was listening into this podcast and things like that and catching up on episodes. My husband was a huge fan of CBS Mornings, but more so because he was absolutely crazy about Nate. And he just felt seen. He felt represented. He felt like you all represented Black excellence. And so in such a hard time, you all were a safe space for me. It was like I can let my hair down in the hospital, had you all in my ear, looking at you on my phone. But it was a connection because he really, really, really rocked with your husband, Atoya and Nate. So to now, fast forward, be here a year later, and this being exclusively my first time even speaking about my story, I feel so much strength, but I find myself feeling comforted in a way like I was in that hospital room with these 2 beautiful queens. So I'm absolutely honored to begin this journey of sharing my story starting here on the podcast.
Girl, you got me all watery.
Listen,
so
I'm the truth.
That is so sweet. And
it's the truth.
And the fact that you found us, and the fact that he watched Nate and then you found us, that is like something out of a story, like something made up.
And then we're here, like a year.
And then then here we are. What a blessing.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
It is crazy. And I know it hasn't been easy for you. I know when you discovered this, I know that journey, like you said, it came out of nowhere. You know, that's kind of like how these things, they just come out of nowhere. You're like, what? Wait, why? How? You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
completely out of nowhere.
So as far as what you knew, what did they say to you? Like when you found this out, what did the doctor say? We
are in a litigation case right now because there were a lot of missteps, I would say. We went in, however, in the emergency room because he was complaining of the worst headache of his life. And, you know, if you just listen around, you know, typically that is an indicator of an aneurysm. And I have the type of man that, you know, if he get a common cold, he's going to pretend like it's the end of the world. But if something is really bothering him, it's going to take a lot for him to shut down that part or to say something is bothering him.
Yes.
You know, if he just got a cold, it's the end of the world.
It's always the cold.
Listen, the cold.
But I mean, if something is really wrong, he's going to show up. He's going to take care of the family. He's going to push through. This was different. He said, I got to go to the doctor. He said, take me to the ER. So complaining of the worst headache of his life. In short, we were dismissed. And not even 20 days later, the discovery of the 2 aneurysms ruptured. And, you know, I think that is the hardest part. Because I remember being in that ER advocating for him. No, he needs a CAT scan. I won't leave unless he has that. Did you look at his actual blood vessels? Like, what are you saying? To the point where they said, did you practice medicine? I'm like, no, but a good Google search will lead me down the path
That's right.
of some wisdom to say something is off. So I can't go too far into detail, particularly about my interactions at the hospital and what did they say, but I can firmly say they didn't say enough. And ultimately, 20 days later, the aneurysms ruptured, which led to his untimely transition.
Yeah, that is hard because to your point, something could have been done and it wasn't.
Yeah.
And that is that is a case for a lot of Black people. We talk about it all the time. It's talked about a lot, and we are dismissed a lot. Yeah. And change needs to come. It's always
absolutely,
absolutely.
There's
no extra steps for us.
Yeah. And this experience, if I can use my voice, if I can use the platform that I've been given, trust and believe it's going to be in some way hoping to advance the reality of that conversation, because it's not what I read anymore. It's not what I can empathize with anymore. It happened to me. It's very real. But I do believe in my soul, greater has to be coming.
Yeah. You call yourself the widow warrior, and that's for a reason. So I know greater will be coming, because you're going to keep fighting for what's right and well-deserved for you and your family. And I just thank you for your strength and courage to be able to even talk about it. And if there's anything we can do, please let us know. Get more attention, whatever it is, please let us know.
I appreciate it, and I will. It is, this journey of healing is a slow path. And for me, someone who loved to get things done and being in high, paced environments, it's been a challenge. Yeah. Because it's like, no, sit still, be still, and know. And so I'm in that season, yet still having to be a mama of 3 and hold down the household in ways that is like, I don't know that this was supposed to be for me. Like, I need some help here. So it's a journey.
So I have a question. And I think it's just because in general we avoid the conversation of grief, right? And so when it hits you, you're never really prepared. Especially you talk about in mid-30s, you're really just getting your groove, just in terms of family and life, right? So you really don't even think about even being prepared for it, getting your kids prepared for it, and all of the things, right? But I did see one of your Instagram posts where you were honoring your husband, and you said you do feel like he prepared you to some degree. Can you chat a little bit about that? And then I got another follow-up question, but just chat about just the preparation. But
Andre Blake Brumfield, he was a man of valor and integrity and character, but he would always say in the smallest ways, if I wasn't here, baby, what would you do? And I'm not saying that because I can't do it, but I want you to see your own strength. And at the time, it used to annoy me. Like, dude,
just do it. Like,
we're not talking about my own strength. I'm talking about you going to get the kids right now because I'm tired. Right. Okay. And feeding them and doing their homework and stepping 3 hours into my shoes, bro. I don't know if I'm trying to hear my own strength right now. Okay.
Right.
But it was true. And I always say now, did you have an inkling something was about to happen? Because if you did, you could have just let me know. But it was subtle ways. It was subtle moments. I think as we talked about that conversation on forgiveness, I began to be, I wouldn't say insecure, but I was double-minded. I would second guess my intuition. And he would always say, no, what are you thinking? You know what to do. You know what's on your heart. You know what's right. You know what's making you smile. You know what's causing you a bit of friction. All of those things right now is what I have to tap into, because I don't have that sounding board in the same physical realm that I once did. So a lot of that prepared me. I think the greatest preparation, though, was where we found refuge on our hardest days, and that was prayer. And on the hardest days, we would pray together. And I think that was the ultimate preparation, because when the tears fall, at the end of the day, when it's me and those 3 babies, when it feels dark, when I don't know how I can keep going, when I feel lost in it all, it's on my knees in prayer that I feel his presence, but I feel his presence. And I think that that was the greatest preparation, being loved well, that I can say I had.
You know, and that's beautiful, because for you, and you talk about being high school sweethearts, and for him to just be this man of wisdom so long, at such a young age, and be able to speak into you and love on you like that. It is a beautiful gift.
I mean, absolutely, yeah. He did. Now, he was the extrovert. I was the introvert. He had a phenomenal soul, but oh my goodness, he had his seasons of, he was Mr. Popular, he was Mr. Funny, he was Mr. Charismatic. I know. It was all of the... But I saw something, and I worked with what I saw. And oh, glory.
I get it.
The man before you now. So he wasn't just full of wisdom. It was always in him, but it glowed a different way. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I get what you throwing at me, definitely, because I think about it in the same sense. So, he definitely has all these other things, but the greatest thing about it is when it came to you, when it comes to you, he knew how to speak into your life and love you the right way, and that's beautiful.
Oh yeah, he definitely did, without a doubt.
Yeah, and let's talk about your beautiful kids.
Yay! So I have 3, a 13-year-old, my eldest son, middle baby is Grace. My eldest is Aiden. Middle baby is Grace. She's 6. And that Isaiah is Andre's twin in every shape, form, or fashion. Watch out, okay? Watch out for that one. That's the one. Gotta intercede on his behalf, but he is a gift. He is a light to the world. Let's just put it that way. But I am a mama, and it's hard. Okay, yeah. It is hard. Yeah. I know you ladies can attest to that and more. It is hard, especially going from, a 2-parent household. And for me, we worked very hard to not be a broken family, if you will, or me be a single mom. And so. I'm stepping into a world, God, I didn't ask for this. In fact, we put in work so that this didn't be our reality. Make this plain for me. So it's a lot, but they bring me joy. They bring me hope. And they make me laugh every step of the way. My daughter's name is Grace. 5 is the biblical number for grace. My husband transitioned on 5/5, and I always felt like God's grace is still covering us. So in different ways, they speak to me. Aiden, Andre used to tell him all the time, my oldest, if something were to happen to me, you're the man of the house. And I don't want you to wear that from the space of you need to provide as a child, but I want you to understand you have everything in you need to succeed. So I think about those things, and Isaiah, his aura, his charisma, his humor. It's hard. It is so hard. Yeah. But I also am reminded of my late husband in all of them, and it's an honor to be able to see them just grow. It's been so fast already. Yeah. But they are the light of my life.
Yeah. Tia and I talked about this a little bit with someone else, and we were talking about therapy and work, going to someone and talking to someone and working through your thoughts. And I'm sure that you have someone that you see. How do you feel about, and what do you think about doing something like that for your kids at such a young age? Do you feel like that's a part of the journey?
I think that's the natural default in terms of your village or community, just sharing recommendations or what feels like the right thing to do. I will say I think every child is different, but what I'm discovering, having children 13, 6, and 4, is if you really think about it, it can be very logical. As a child, talking to strangers is just not what you naturally do. Talking to, it's not what you're taught. Don't talk to strangers. As a child, then talking about grief, talking about death, and they don't even have a language to process.
Right.
Sometimes that vehicle can be something that brings things up in them that really causes them to revert. That's just my experience, and that's just what I've had to
I
settle
never thought about it that way.
That is a great explanation.
So when they're not ready to have a conversation, you're like, talk. They don't have a language for it.
Yeah.
I barely got one.
Right.
I barely know how to say, there's nights I cry every day and I don't know why. Or I didn't know if I could get up and make kids breakfast, but somehow I did. But all I want to do is go back to sleep. My kids don't know how to process emotions that way yet. You know, so what I'm trying to do is find different supplements and avenues that they find safety in. My oldest loves basketball, so I made sure he was in the Chicago Bulls basketball camp. My middle child, Gracie Pooh, she loves cheer. She loves dance. So I ensure she, has that outlet. The youngest loves to flip, play, run. He's in some type of ninja
all the energy,
gymnastics. Let it out, child, and let's go to bed when you get home. Okay,
right.
And then we try to do camps. So this summer through Northwestern University and the Auditorium Theater here in Chicago, they have a grief camp, and it's called Hearts to Arts. But the vehicle is different than just sitting down with a therapist. It's how do we use artistic expression to process our emotions. So I think
they have that available for all 3 kids?
Well, no, Isaiah's too young. I think it starts at 6.
Okay.
And Isaiah's only 4. And he would turn that camp upside down in the most loving way. But I don't know if it would go from hearts to art. I don't know if it would land with him. I think it would be from heart to heart. Come get your child.
Hey, it's something about the last kids. It's like, what did I do to deserve this?
I don't know. Andre Blake Brumfield is all through that last one. Love him with my whole heart, but it is just the truth. But in all seriousness, I don't know that we've gotten to the place in the journey yet where they're ready to have that one-on-one therapeutic experience yet. I even think about when I first started therapy. It took a while to get into it, a groove where I felt comfortable to genuinely express myself. So I think every child is different, but don't be afraid to listen to what naturally comes up from them. And don't feel conditioned to force them to speak, and they're just not there yet.
That's good. Yeah, that's great advice. I love that. What advice do you have for women that have experienced something similar to what you've experienced? What would you say to them?
I would say, first thing I would say is, if you can, sit with yourself and rest. Because grief and complicated grief and intense grief through my widowhood experience is one that is so incredibly draining physically. I'm tired. I would say sit with yourself and don't be afraid to do that. And I think it's beautiful as our love story was, and the amazing accomplishments in media and things like that I've been blessed to have. I was conditioned to keep going. That stillness and peace. It's like, what am I doing? Even now, I find myself, if I have a day off with the kids, or if they went to a vacation with the grandparents and no one's home, and I'm like, let me go do this. It's like, no. Sit with yourself.
Take your mind off of it.
I think for a while, the first few months, I avoided that because I was scared what would come up. I would say for me, don't be afraid. Lean into it. Oftentimes, that's where you find their spirit and their energy ready to comfort you, even in your pain.
Yeah.
I would also say silence the noise. You'll have people telling you, don't do this, put your child in this. Did you get this? You got to get up, girl. You got to be strong. You got 3 kids to take care of. I know. I feed them every day. But there's going to be some days where DoorDash or Lunchable is what's for dinner, because that's all I got.
Yeah.
And you have to silence that noise. And I think the last thing I would say for me, keep your prayer game strong, but also, what is the thing that make you happy? You know, I don't want to sound shallow at all, but just, I got to keep my hair done. And everybody was like, why, you know, of all the things you're going to do today, why is that? You know what? It brought me joy. It got me through. It helped me get up. It made me feel good. I like to feel good. So you're going to find people that have something to say. You're going to find people that, you know, are only trying to care, but can say things that are so critical. You're going to find people up in your business. Are you dating again? And things like that. If I was, I don't know that this is the forum with you.
Right.
That I would share it with.
Right. Like, I haven't
But
talked to you since.
if I did, is it your business? Right. And if I did, go me. You know,
right.
So you have to silence the noise. I think appreciate that silence, even though it will feel isolating. Get your prayer language strong. Find the things that make your soul smile and stay there as long as you need.
Yeah. I think that's good for even people trying to support individuals who may be experiencing this, right? Because sometimes you get in that space where you feel like you got to say something. You got to feel the space. Like, and sometimes the best support is to what you just said. It's no words. It's literally just cheering me on for the things that keep me going. Right.
Just be there. I have some amazing best friends, sister friends, and we've been rocking since high school. So they, of course, knew Andre. And I can say they have just been there. No judgment, nothing to say. Just come over because I just need your energy.
Just loving on you.
Fall asleep on the couch.
That part is so important. It is so important to just just show up. You don't have to come with any words of wisdom. Just show up and be you. That's why you're my friend.
That's it. That's it. So that's what I would say. And then, you know, widowhood it's hard. Yeah. It's so hard. It took me a while to even say the word widow because I feel like it's so dark. And widow, like even if you Google it, it's like black spiders.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, I think there's something to be said about the conversation of widowhood, and it's very whitewashed. You don't see a lot of black women, especially young black women, talking about grief and widowhood and what they need. So I pray as the next iteration of Kingdom Divas and the blog Edified launches that I'll be able to be what I wish I had.
Ooh, say that.
I love that.
Well, I love the name Widow Warrior already. So that right there, it just you've already changed the lens by calling it that. That's a beautiful name. Really.
Thank you.
Well, I wanted to talk about Diversified Now, right? Just shifting gears and thinking about things that you are passionate about. Can we talk about Diversified Now? What is it?
Yes.
Why was it important? The whole nine.
Yes. Diversified Now is a boutique diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting agency. It was birthed and really amplified, I should say. I won't say birthed because we were doing the work years prior, but amplified after we all witnessed the murder of George Floyd. And you saw so many companies making their proclamations, declarations, mission statements, and monologues about how we need to change and prioritize this DEI work. And so we said, okay, we're doing this work anyway. Let's roll up our sleeves and be a part of the change. And so Diversified took off. We've had the amazing opportunity to work with some amazing companies. And I really think our approach, which is working with C-suite executives first, really looking at policies and procedures, then we proceed with programming, has really allowed us to be different. Because if you just, broadcast the panel, the fireside chat, put a face that might fit the casting of your conversation for the day, but you still don't have the people in the right positions being compensated accordingly, we still still got work to do.
Right.
So that's where Diversified Now comes in. My amazing partner is Rachel Pierce, who really has also taken Diversified Now and interwoven it in all of her work as well. We've been able to come together. So I kind of take my communications lens and package it and present the work differently. And she takes her HR and cultural and DEI lens and ensure we don't miss the mark in terms of recommendations and programming. So it's been an amazing, amazing, amazing opportunity and a blessing to see it grow.
That's awesome, because I love that you guys did it during a time where you could just jump all over it. And like, you know, it was a perfect time. Like I talk about God's timing, like that was a perfect time to grow this. Now, when you decided to do it, did you get any, in working with these companies, did you get any pushback, you know, in what you presented to them? Maybe that they didn't want to hear, or they didn't feel like how does it work overall?
Yeah, I absolutely. You know, anytime you have a business, you are a Black woman, and then you may have the audacity to want to come ready and prepared. Some people can even perceive that as a threat, even though you have what they need to get to the next level.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we definitely experienced that. But I think the gift we had was that we want the client that is for us. And that client is going to see our talent, our expertise.
The value in it. Yep.
The value in it. And so we're approaching these conversations. How can we help you evolve your brand? Not convincing you that I'm the woman for the job. Now, you can ask your questions about who we are and our company and testimonials, and we'll run everything you need to be sure in your decision-making and hiring us. But we're not going to approach the conversation of I need to do hoops and tricks to gain validation for something that's obvious that we can help you with. So it definitely came with those, you know, experiences. But I think early on we said, no, we have to go into this work confident in who we are, because if we're not, we can't hand the baton for the next generation that we're advocating for.
Yeah.
Now, did you, after all that affirmative action hoopla that took place or whatever, and we started seeing like all of these executives being released, have you guys, I mean, I guess it's still kind of fresh too, but have you guys started to notice any of that? Like, oh, we were placating y'all now that we don't have to do this, you know? We're not.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. Absolutely. I think that for us, the benefit again is our starting point at Diversified Now, which is really we start with coaching with your C-suite executives, and we really look at your policies and procedures. That for us provides a blind spot radar, if you will. Because if you're not willing to come to the conversations authentic, you're not willing to change and enhance your policies and procedures, then are you really, you have to ask the question, committed to this work long term? So I think we have the blessing of a lot of the clients that we are partnering with. They're really wanting change. They made the investment, but they also haven't deviated from the timeline, right? But generally, just the volume has changed and shifted. But you also are able to identify clients and organizations that are really about advancing the space of DEI.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so I have to end on this note, because we talked about it in the beginning, so I'm bringing it back full circle.
Yay.
We talked about you being an Emmy award-winning media haven. We have to talk about that. We have to celebrate you and give you your flowers right now on Inside Lines podcast. Tell us about what you won.
Wow. So, and I'm going to be honest with you, I had not shared with too many people that I won an Emmy. And that's my own soul work that I'm still on the journey of doing, which is...
Screaming that from the rooftop.
Like, why am I cowarding
That's
in
right.
this? Why am I not celebrating this? But some industries can make you conditioned to feel like, oh no, you still got something else to prove. Or what else did you really do? Did you, so I struggled with celebrating it, but I'm not, because come the fall, I got a whole photo shoot planned.
Let's go.
I know that's
I'm
right.
struggling
I know
right now.
that's right.
Let's go.
I know that's
I'm
right.
gonna step into this Black girl glory, but I am so blessed. The piece that I partnered with our amazing lead anchor, shout out to Erica Sargent at CBS Chicago, she called me up and she said, I need help. I need you to take on this interview, to bring only what you can bring to this interview. It was a Chicago blues interview in which we were honoring arts and culture in Chicago by a female.
Passion.
Yeah, but exactly, right?
Yes.
A female blues and musician. Her name was Ivy Ford. And so many times when we think of the blues, we think of amazing, Black, strong, talented men, but there are some women in the space too. And so she called me up and she said, you just do what you do. She had no clue that earlier that week we discovered the aneurysms on my husband's brain. And so I remember him saying, I called my husband and I was with him actually. And I said, am I supposed to do this? Like, I can't leave you. And he's like, oh, you're going to do this and you're going to be amazing. You're going to go and you're going to do what Raleshia does best. And so I did. I brought everything that I could to the interview. Erica had her beautiful talent and all her glory on it. And I was able to add to it, and it won an Emmy. And so I'm so proud of that. But I'm just thinking about the time that project released my voice, what I really want to do. And to have my husband's affirmation and industry validation that, girl, you did that. That was a moment. So I look forward to celebrating it soon in a bigger way. But again, on this podcast first.
I can't wait to see these
We
pictures in
talked
the
about
fall, girl.
Right. But you just talk about God ordering your steps, right? Because when you think about just the timing of even being presented with the opportunity and how dark of a time it was, but how you were able to, one, your husband know that you did some dope shit, but then two, like win an award and like really take it to the top. Like, that is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And I think that too is a part of why I haven't even said too much, because I still can't believe it. I'm still like,
well, believe it, because we cheering for you right now. We are so honored to have you on.
I want to see your next profile pic with the Emmy right here.
Yes,
just
real
like
talk. Real talk.
Yes.
Okay, before you leave, we want to play a little game. It's called the 2-minute drill. And it's this, that, or the other. We're going to ask you a this or that question or a fill in the blank. You ready?
I've been a little anxious about this because I decisiveness, but we can do this. We can.
This is fun. This is all easy breezy fun.
Whatever comes first.
Yes. You ready, Tia?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Organize everything or plan nothing?
Organize everything. I wish I could plan nothing.
If you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be?
Ooh. If I could change anything about the way, shout out to Linda and Ron Howard, by the way. If I could change anything about the way that I was raised, what would it be?
It could be something light.
Yeah.
I would have got a dog sooner, so I would have had more time to learn how to really take care of the dog, and my daddy didn't give it away. And I would have gotten permission to go to my junior prom with Andre. In my district in high school, junior prom was your prom. But I had like this family tradition. Prom season is only senior year. I was devastated. I wanted to go with Dre. And my dad was like, you are a junior. You're not going to prom. But if I could change anything, Ron Howard didn't play those games. But I wish I would have got a dog sooner. And I wish I would have been able to go to junior prom with Dre.
Love that.
Nice.
Be able to play every musical instrument or master every type of sport?
I think master the sports, because as I step into this new dating world, child, I feel like I need to be able to have that language to relate And right now it's like I turn on the Super Bowl.
I
I turn on the championship. And then I'm asking all these questions, and I feel like I need a different path. I need to invest in myself in a different way.
We're going to get you to play fantasy football. We're going to get you to play fantasy football this fall. So we're going to get you right. Don't worry about it. We got you.
And we're going to get you to our Super Bowl show in Las Vegas.
It's in Vegas. Yes. It's in Vegas.
Yes.
Okay. We'll get to that. Okay, we're on a 2-minute drill. Come on. What's next to you?
Yeah. So dim sum or sushi?
Oh, sushi all day.
Sushi. Okay.
Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you are going to say?
No. I've gotten a little bold with those calls. If you get me on the line, like,
yeah, off the dome.
Because I'm a texter, so if I'm talking to you, what is it?
Yeah.
I love
Would you rather be the center of attention or go unnoticed?
I don't want to sound deep, but I think for so long I thought I had to go unnoticed, not to seem arrogant. But I believe God is calling me at a place where he's saying, take your rightful place. And if that center stage, your heart posture will lead you before anyone else's opinion can own you.
Listen, well, come on and preach to me then.
Well, here's another question similar to that one. Would you rather be famous for all the wrong reasons or not famous at all?
I think, not famous at all. Wealthy and luxurious, low-key life is my vibe.
Over in the cut.
Just in the cut.
Yes.
Just keep me over there. I don't need to be out there, but it's in there.
Real talk.
Okay. Would you rather have an exciting but dangerous life or a boring but meaningful life? I think you kind of answered that already.
Oh, yeah, that's very similar.
That is. I don't know. That's a good one. I think
exciting or boring.
Exciting. I want to be exciting. It's the meaningful part that
kind of throws it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
An exciting, meaningful life.
Yes.
That part. She's like, I'm gonna help y'all out with this question. Okay, here's the final question. It's really easy. What is next for Raleshia?
It is self-love unapologetically. And I think that's going to open up the promise that God has for me. That's it.
There you go.
When I say you have been preaching to me.
I know. I love talking to you. Thank you. I know there's going to be so many people that want to talk to you and reach out to you. If they want to get a hold of you, where do they find you? How do they reach out to you?
Absolutely. Please go follow me on Instagram, which is @myfaithhisgrace, spelled exactly how it sounds. You can check me out on Facebook, Raleshia Brumfield, or you can visit my website, www.raleshiabrumfield.com.
Yes, and I'll be sure to put links to all of that in our show notes.
Thank you. Can I just give you all your flowers? What? Thank you. Thank you for going forth with what's been placed on your heart. Thank you for these authentic conversations. Thank you for opening up a space for people like me to be able to share not only their story, but also find sisterhood in it too. So can I just say thank you? And I just speak that the best is yet to come for you both. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. That is our show. For the latest on the Inside Lines podcast, make sure to follow us at Inside Lines Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook.
You can also listen online and share your favorite episodes at our website, which is insidelinespodcast.com. And if y'all don't know by now, we have a YouTube channel. That's right. Follow us at Inside Lines Podcast and make sure you subscribe and hit that bell so you get all the notifications when the new episode comes out.
Until next time, leave it all out on the field. Thanks for listening.